Good evening. Could we all rise and recite the council prayer? Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilor Elliott.
Here.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Here.
Councilor Lenzi.
Here.
Councilor Martin.
Here.
Councilor Armin Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Milanazzo.
Here.
Councilor Broderick. Mayor Caulfield.
Here.
9 present.
The chair would like to recognize Councilor Rita Mercia and also Councilor Michael Lindsay for a moment of silence, and Jim Milanazzo as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence in Darkened Chamber for Annette Ann Tully, wife of former Lowell City Manager B. Joseph Tully. Mrs. Tully grew up in the Centerville section of the city, the 10th of 12 children. She later moved to Dracut, where she raised her family. Mrs. Tully was an avid sports fan and could always be seen on the sidelines cheering on her children and later her grandchildren. Mrs. Tully is survived by her husband of 59 years, B. Joseph Tully of Dracut. Her 4 children, Sharon Tully, Joseph R. Tully, Philip R. Tully, and Joanne Tully Keegan, the chairman of the Board of Health in the city of Lowell. She is also survived by 2 beloved grandchildren who added great happiness to her life, James Tully Keegan and Christina Ann Keegan. She was a truly generous person who opened her home and kitchen table to many people throughout her life, I being one of them. She will be truly missed not only by her family, but also by her many friends. May she rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair would like to recognize Councilor James Milanazzo.
Moment of silence in Darkened Chambers for Walter F. Forget. Mr. Forget passed away on April 17th. Mr. Forget was a firefighter here in Lowell for over 30 years. He was assigned to the Branch Street firehouse on Engine 2. He lived in the Belvedere section of the city, and he was also past president, past vice president, and past treasurer of the Lowell retired firefighters. He enjoyed spending time with his family, which included his daughter Karen Forget and his son Walter Jr., and he was also the father of the late Ronald Forget, who was killed in the Vietnam War back in the mid-1960s. He will be truly missed.
Thank you very much, Councilor. Councilor William Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to add to the list of people remembered tonight, Sister Claire Kayer, a member of the Order of the Sisters of Charity of Ottawa, who passed away last week. Sister Claire really devoted her life to betterment of people in Lowell. She was a vocation from the city, and for those of us who were fortunate enough to be involved with Duville Manor, knew her many great works there. She kept us honest and had us always in her prayers and kept us young. She was at 90 or near 90 when she passed away, and did many, many good things for countless people in the city, and her work here will never be forgotten.
Thank you. Councilor Michael Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence and darken the chambers in memory of Frederick Joseph Santos, who died on Tuesday, April 21st. He was married to Mrs. Gertrude Payer Santos, with whom he would have celebrated their 53rd wedding anniversary on November 25th. He was born in Lowell on July 18, 1933, the son of the late Charles and Mary Farley Santos. And Fred was a graduate of Lowell High School, class of 1952, and later attended Worcester Academy. He served in the United States Army during the Korean War, earning the rank of corporal. He was co-owner of Charles Santos and Sons Wholesale Meats of Lowell. He was a communicant of St. Margaret's Church. Fred was an avid golfer and a member at Mount Pleasant Golf Club, where he entertained the members for many years. He was also a member of the Lowell Lodge of Elks and VFW Post 662. He will be sadly missed by his family and friends. I'd also like to offer a moment of silence and darken the chambers in memory of Henry A. Gaumont, who died Monday, April 20th, at the age of 75. He was the beloved husband of Dorothy B. Hamill Gaumont, a registered nurse, with whom he would have celebrated 54 years of marriage this August. Born in Lowell, November 3rd, 1933, the son of the late Leo B. and Bertha Branchard Gaumont. He received his early education at St. Jean d'Arc School and was a graduate of Keith Academy, class of 1951. In 1954, Henry enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. He was part of the 1st Battalion serving in Japan, and in 1965, he became president of Gaumont Brothers TV and Appliance in downtown Lowell, a business started by his father in 1938. He will be remembered as a loyal Red Sox and Patriot fan, but most of all for his well-known dancing abilities. He will be sadly missed by his family and friends.
Can we all rise for a moment of silence and darken chambers for these outstanding citizens of our city? Thank you. May they rest in peace. Moving on with the agenda, it is a pleasure to have in our council chambers this evening the Honorable Judge Jane Haggerty, Superior Court, and also Gregory D. Obenhauser, distinguished attorney in our city. And I am going to present a proclamation, and this is the 150th anniversary of the Superior Court. And it's actually a pleasure and a privilege to present this proclamation to you. As you well know, we have attorney Kevin Broderick and attorney William Martin as members of the council, and we'll be there Friday to also present this to you in Superior Court. And it reads, whereas this country was founded on the principle that voluntary adherence to the rule of law expands, rather than limits, the opportunities for freedom. And whereas a viable democracy requires understanding of the nature and basic of our freedoms and recognition of the individual responsibilities which those freedoms impose. And whereas the Law Day 2009 150th anniversary theme of the rule of law, foundation for communities of opportunity and equity, encourages all to examine the rule of law, our role in its sustainability, and its role in protecting our communities, our democracy, opportunity, equity, and all that is most precious to us. Now therefore, I, Edward C. Caulfield, Mayor of the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim Friday, May 1st, 2009, as Law Day and urge all citizens, schools, legal professionals, businesses, and media to join in the celebration given this first day of May, the year 2009, and that will be presented to you Friday. But let's put our hands together for the Honorable Judge.
Okay. I do want to thank you, Mayor Caulfield, for those very kind words and a very eloquent proclamation that we will look forward to on Friday, May 1st, Law Day, up at the Superior Court. There are a few things that I would like to inform the Council of relative to the celebration of the 150th year of the Superior Court. We are actually having a number of events beginning on Thursday evening, April 30th, over at UMass. We are having a program from 5 to 6:30 called Justice Examined, in which a group of panelists, including F. Lee Bailey, Judge Kenneth Fishman of the Superior Court, District Attorney Jerry Leone, and Dave Meyer, a former Assistant District Attorney in Middlesex County, will take a look at a case that got quite a bit of notoriety in 1963 and thereafter. It was a death in Belmont. in which a fellow by the name of Roy Adams was tried and convicted in the Superior Court. And this particular event is going to examine the circumstances surrounding his trial and his conviction. And it will also touch on whether he was wrongfully convicted and whether the Boston Strangler was actually the real murderer. And the focus of this panel will be to discuss how things would look today in terms of the science that we now have, in terms of expanded rights afforded to people who are accused of crimes, to see how different the case would look as we examine it more closely under the scrutiny of 2009 standards. So you are all invited. Let me tell you the exact location. It's in the library over at UMass. And of course I can't, it's the O'Leary Library, room 222 from 5 to 6:30, and it's followed by a reception that is sponsored by Chancellor Meehan and the Greater Lowell Bar Association, as well as the Middlesex County Bar Association. So we ask that you all join us for this very interesting panel and for the reception afterwards. And I would just turn this over to Mr. Oberhauser, who will talk about a little bit about Law Day and what that will entail.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of the Greater Lowell Bar Association, we accept your proclamation with dignity and pride, and I'd like to share with you what we're going to be doing on Friday. Starting at 8 o'clock, we're going to be in each one of the 8th grade classes in Lowell with a lawyer talking to all the students in there for between an hour to an hour and a half. I think we're going to have close to 35, if not 40 lawyers out there all day, all morning in all of the Lowell 8th grade classes. Number two, we're having a presentation of Law Day at the Superior Court, which will start at about 11:30 with tours of the historic building. But then we're going to also have essays from a number of the students of the Lowell area, also the Dracut area and Tingsboro area will be giving essays and competing for a scholarship, which is funded by the Greater Lowell Bar Association. That scholarship will hopefully help them defer some of the costs of college. We award numerous winners from there. And then with that, we're going to also have some other keynote speakers talking there. I believe Nikki Songus is going to be there, and some of the dignitaries in this room will be also in attendance. So we're quite proud that the Greater Lowell Bar has been able to put this on for many years. It started back, I believe, in 1957, and has been growing success thanks to the judge with us today, and also Judge Flynn at Juvenile Court has really kind of ramrodded that in. And there's one other aspect that is going to take place in the fall that is of a benefit to all the people of Lowell, and I'll let Judge Haggerty finish up with that. And thank you again.
The third event that we're having in Lowell in honor of the 150th year of the Superior Court is we are sponsoring with members of the Lowell Bar and the Greater Lowell Bar a People's Law School, which will be a 6-week program, and it's on successive Tuesday evenings beginning on September 29th in the early evening. I can't remember if it's 6 to 8 or 6:30 to 8:30. And in those 6 weeks, we'll have a number of lawyers speak to members of the community who register for this course about various topics, forfeitures, insurance, elder affairs, some traffic violations, landlord-tenant, condominium law, just a variety of topics that would be of interest to people who are not lawyers, who are trying maybe to answer some questions for themselves on these topics. We will put out a lot of publicity about this to make sure we can get people in the community. We clearly want to target elders. And for one of these programs, we will want to target young people about loss of license and some of the motor vehicle infractions that lead to that. And then at the end of the 6-week period, for those who have participated for these 6 weeks, they will be given a certificate recognizing their participation in the People's Law School. So if you could get that word out there, we will try through Kathy O'Donnell and some of the other lawyers in the Greater Lowell Bar Association to get the word out. And I'm sure you'll see some things in the Lowell Sun and in various locations. But we're very excited about this and hope that it's something that will enrich the community. So I thank you for
Thank
letting us
you,
talk.
and our democracy states that everyone is entitled to a fair trial. And thank God, we do have attorneys and courthouses that allow that to happen. There are people in other countries that doesn't happen. So God bless you on your hard work, and congratulations on Law Day Friday. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
You're
Mr.
welcome.
Mayor. And thank you, members of the council.
Moving on with the agenda, the nice part about being the mayor of this great city, you have a chance to do nice things for nice people. And as former mayors will testify, that you go to dedications and ribbon cutting ceremonies, and this woman is always there with the Chamber of Commerce. And I don't know of one woman who works so hard, so tirelessly for the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce and the businessmen and women that she represents. And Jean Osborne, we have a citation for you, and I know you're a nervous wreck standing there, but relax. And the citation reads, "Be it hereby known to all that the City of Lowell and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts extends its deepest congratulations to Jean L. Osborne for achieving the 2009 Massachusetts Woman in Business Champion Award, bestowed by the U.S. Small Business Administration. This award is presented to an individual who has fulfilled a commitment to the advancement of women's business ownerships. Jean has dedicated herself to serving her community, the City of Lowell, and the Greater Lowell area, promoting and advocating for women in business. Jean serves on several nonprofit boards throughout the Greater Lowell area, some of which are the Vice President of the Rape Crisis Services of Greater Lowell, Vice President of the Workforce Investment Board, the Lowell Plan, the Merrimack Valley Economic Development Council, Operator of Lowell General Hospital, and Boys and Girls Club of Lowell. This all makes it a better community through the tireless efforts of people like Jean. The entire city commends Jean for all her dedication and hard work and wishes her the best for continued success. Given this 28th day of April in the year 2009 by Mayor Caulfield, the entire City Council, and people who ask me what is so unique about Lowell, it's the people, and it's people like Jean Osborne. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor and City Councilors. I just want to say that I will continue to work on behalf of all women in business and all business in general, not just women in business. I also invite you down to the Expo Center on May 19th, if you're available, to be with me when I get the award by the SBA. And also, I want to thank those who are here tonight on my behalf, my friends, family, colleagues, staff, and board. Thank you very much, and again, thank you.
You're welcome. Moving on with the agenda, the Mayor of Nairobi, Kenya, requesting to become a sister city, and representing the Mayor of Nairobi, Kenya, is our good friend, Mr. Bill Jarvis, who would like to come to the podium and speak on this very, very touchy issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to the Lowell City Council for allowing us to come here and speak to you tonight. I will start with introducing Bill Thompson. He'll say a few words, and then I'll say a few myself.
I'd like to say thank you, Mayor Caulfield, and the City Council for allowing me to be here. I'd also like to thank Diane in your office, who's a great coach.
Yes.
I'm a real estate broker in Lowell, and I've become very close with the Kenyan community over the last few years and their families. This past Christmas, I wanted to send a gift back to Nairobi with Bernard Ngawe here, and I was really surprised. I couldn't find anything that really represented this area, this region, so I went to see Vasilios Jarvis, and he had just what I needed. The city seal says that art is the handmaid of human good, and Vasilios and I wrapped up one of his paintings, and we sent it to Nairobi. And I was really surprised at the response. They said that they were assured that Lowell was as warm and as cheerful place as depicted, and it was a privilege to have Lowell people as their friends. I called Vasilios and thanked him and told him what the response was on his work, because it really does, pictures worth thousands of words, especially his. And he suggested that we put together a little group and try to create a sister city arrangement, which I agreed on. And I also have Bernard here, and we have June Ondongo. She's involved with coordinating the art on the Nairobi side. She's also opened a small nonprofit here out of Lowell. She lives in Lowell, that provides unwanted computers that are refurbished to rural schools in Kenya that are in much need. And Bill?
About 20 years ago, I made a painting of the Lowell Folk Festival. It was 39 inches tall and 25 inches wide. I had posters made of the painting in 1991, which were funded in part by the Massachusetts Arts Lottery Program as administered by the Lowell Arts Council. The painting itself was purchased by the Lowell National Historical Park and has been in their collection since 1991. We propose to frame 2 of these posters, one of which would be presented to the city of Lowell and one to the city of Nairobi, if they are designated as sister cities by you. We hope the council approves this proposal, as it would create friendly ties with a city in another part of the world. I have brought one of the posters to show you. This is the poster.
That's wonderful, very nice. Mr. Jarvis, either I or one of my colleagues will file a motion to create a sister city with Nairobi, Kenya. It will go from the, if it's approved by the council, go to the law department for the proper vote. We'll keep you informed when that vote is coming forward. And thank you for your hard work and your dedication. And the people, Councilor Elliott?
Mayor, I was going to suggest that we suspend the rules and initiate that action right now.
That's fine.
Yes.
Motion to suspend the
Allow
rules
it
by
to
Councilor
come in.
Elliott,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Rita Mercier. The rules of suspension are in order. Councilor Elliott.
I'd make a motion that we initiate proceedings to develop a sister city relationship and forward that
In
motion to the law
Kenya.
department in
Sister
Nairobi.
City. Seconded by Councilor Arma Mercier. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. It will go to the law department, Mr. Jarvis, and at the next council meeting, we'll be up for the proper vote after the law department oversees it. Okay?
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Elliott, for making that happen. Thank you. Do we have anyone here representing the new business, Home Away from Home? Lynn Brown Zunas or Ron Lucas? Anyone here representing them? If we don't, we're going to move on with the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the last meeting by Councilor Jim Milanazzo, seconded by Councilor Rita Mercier. All in favor of accepting the minutes of the last meeting indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? The minutes have been accepted and adopted and placed on file.
We can.
We're going to go right into the public hearing. The first article on the docket for the public hearing. Second reading by title, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances for the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, the code with respect to Chapter 150 thereof entitled Fees. Those wishing to speak in favor, please come to the podium. To speak in favor, to speak in favor. That portion of the public hearing is closed. Those wishing to speak in opposition. In opposition. In opposition. There is no opposition. What is the wish of the body?
Move approval.
Move approval by Councilor Rita Mercier, seconded by Councilor Bill Martin. Any discussion? Any debate? If none, roll call.
Councilor Elliott?
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian?
Yes.
Councilor Lenzi?
Yes.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercier?
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercier?
Yes.
Councilor Milanazzo?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
9 yeas.
reading of second title, to take by eminent domain in the fee a certain parcel of land in the city of Lowell for municipal purposes, to wit, the layout and acceptance of Warren Court and other municipal purposes associated therewith. Those wishing to speak in favor, please come forward. Speak in favor, in favor, in favor. That portion of the public hearing is closed. Those wishing to speak in opposition, in opposition, in opposition. There is no opposition. Which is the wish of the body. Move approved by Councilor Kevin Broderick, second by Councilor Elliott. Any discussion, any debate? I believe this is for the CSOs and for the wastewater utility to carry on their work. Roll call.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Yes.
Councilor Lenzi.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Communications from City Manager Lynch. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Manager, we received yet another memo, a daunting memo, I should say, on the current status of the budget. Could you give us an update on it? I know we touched on it earlier. Well, we didn't really touch on it on the Finance Subcommittee, knowing that this would come up. So if you could just let us know essentially what the memo says. We're
Sure.
going from bad to worse.
Councilor, I apologize that we got that to you. It was not in your packet. We wanted to get that out, though, as we got the information from the legislature on the House budget and wanted to put it out, sort of keeping you up to date with information as quickly as we had it and had the opportunity to digest it. And essentially, it outlines the challenges that we're facing, and that the House budget, and to show you how quickly things change, I did receive an email about 25 minutes ago alerting me that the House of Representatives has voted to increase the amount of local aid above what the original budget was in their the budget that was sent out last week. They're now matching what the governor is providing. So we're back to about a $13 million problem. If the House budget as originally put forward had been adopted, that budget, as the memo points out, would have grown to about between $18 and $19 million. And as the memo does point out, that, you know, hypothetically, if we were to not do anything with public safety, which obviously is a top priority of the city, and if we were to level fund the school budget, which certainly there are those that would like to see us continue to do that. I know that there was a meeting last night of the Parents' Council where some of these issues were talked about. If we were to do those two things, and if we were not to do anything with our revenues, that would leave us in a position where essentially we would have to eliminate every other position within the city, absent any other actions. Obviously, we're not doing that. We're coming forward, or we will be coming forward with a budget that does have a number of different ideas and proposals to close the budget gap. Public safety, as the memo points out, public safety cannot be totally immune. We have to look at ways to keep the public safety personnel on the street with grant monies and other resources that we may have available. I do think we have to look at what other revenue options we may or may not have available to us. The school budget is something that we are going to have to look at. The schools are fortunate that this year coming up there will be a substantial amount of federal money coming in that through the stimulus bill that will help them out. So we have to look at that. So the memo is really just intended to keep you up to speed on where we were with regards to the budget, with the information that we had regarding what the House had done. And as I said, now the House seems to be, in light of yesterday's vote, they feel comfortable moving forward with improving the local aid appropriation in their budget. But some difficult challenges lie ahead of us, and we all know that. I know that in talking with each individual councilor, and certainly as a body, we know that these are tough times, and the city administration continues to work with the employees, with the department heads, to find solutions, and we look forward to getting the budget to you sometime in mid to late May as we get more information. And certainly, Councilor, if it may be advantageous to have another update with the Finance Subcommittee. I know we're going to be meeting in 2 or 3 weeks to further discuss the excise tax issue or the demand notice issue, but we'll bring you up to speed on that and where we are with the budget. But obviously, it's our top priority right now.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. One thing I did note, I think it was last week, that we've had approximately 16 employees take advantage of the early incentive. I'm sure at some point we'll include that in there, but I think there's a number of measures that you've outlined in this memo that are important that I'd like to bring up at the next Finance Subcommittee meeting, because we've made some substantial progress, while it doesn't seem so in light of the economy. That it's probably important to highlight, whether it's health insurance, and you've outlined them here, payment in lieu of taxes, cost savings on positions, but 16 positions is the latest cost saving measure, if you will, that we won't have to put these employees on unemployment. Is that number capped now because there was a window?
It's actually 17. We had someone come in a day after the deadline, but would still leave by the May 1st. So we allowed, and they had been away on leave, so we allowed them to participate in the program as well. And so it's actually up to 17
Could you get us
now.
the savings at the next Finance Subcommittee meeting?
Absolutely.
What the savings would have been if they didn't take it and go into retirement versus us paying the unemployment? I think that'd be helpful. So thank you. Mayor, I only had one more question. Wondering, Mr. Manager, you did send out an email this afternoon relative to the swine flu cases in the city. Is there any update on the confirmation of whether it is not? I know your email, I read it quickly, indicated that it's not at this point, but they're doing further testing.
They are. The tests are still at the Center for Disease Control. The report that I received, that I forwarded on to the councilors, and I know I spoke with a couple of councilors about this during the day, that Councilor Kazanjian, I know, called in response to some communication from last night, is that it's type A. It's a type A flu, but it's not. It has not been diagnosed as a swine flu. So we're continuing to monitor that, and I haven't received any word from the health department as of yet. But certainly, as soon as we get information one way or the other, I'll let the council know, and we'll let the public know as well. I know that there's concerns out there.
Thank you.
Councilor Kazanjian?
Thank you, Mayor. The budget, you think late May we'll have that?
That's what we're shooting for. Obviously, everything's in a state of flux with the House still making their changes in their budget, and then we have to wait for the Senate. But we're pretty comfortable that what the House does will give us a good indication of where the Senate will end up as well. And so we're shooting for the end of May.
Okay, on another topic, with the motion that Councilor Rita Mercy brought up with the parking garage, I see a memo here that we are going forward with that. Is that correct?
We do intend to move forward with that. We still have the law department working on some issues regarding some of the legal issues, but it's based upon the numbers, and it's in the package there. It doesn't really show the savings in year one, but the years 2, 3, 4, and 5 it will show a savings. Right. And I think we also have to look at the aspect that the money that's being paid in terms of rent will be coming to the city, which obviously will help us on the bottom line there as well. So as a standalone enterprise, if you will, it doesn't directly save money, but coming into the first year, but coming in as a revenue to the parking enterprise, it will help the general fund's bottom line.
Correct. And plus, it's going to give the police presence down that area, which we desperately need.
Absolutely.
Is Elise at Cross Point? Is that all done, or is that are we there at a tenant at will?
That's the issue that the law department is working on right now. It still has a period of time to go, but we're working on the aspects of that to allow us to move forward with this plan.
Okay. Will you keep us informed?
Absolutely.
Let us know what's going. Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Milonazo?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have in our packets this evening a report from the Law Department. I want to thank Attorney Christine O'Connor. It's an update regarding the public safety officers out on 111F, and it's a very encouraging report. Currently in the fire department, we have 0, police 6, and we have 7 in the police department who are pending approval for accidental disability retirement benefits. And as the report indicates, this is perhaps the lowest in the last decade, based upon the number of public safety officers receiving 111F benefits. So, again, kudos to the law department and the administration, and to the public safety officers who are coming back to work within a 2 to 3 month time frame. And I think that that's very encouraging, and I just want to acknowledge the report. So thank you.
Mr. Manager?
Counselor, if I may just comment, I know that this was when I first came on as city manager, I know that this was a pressing issue that, looking at the numbers, it was of great concern, the number of cases that were there, and it has been, I know it's been a priority of the city council to do something about that, and I have to tell you, it's been a priority of the administration, and I think we've made, I appreciate your kind words, we have made tremendous progress there, and I think it's very appropriate that the credit for that work goes to the law department, who has taken the challenge that's been presented to them and has worked the issue very well.
Councilor Elliott?
I wanted to also thank the law department and congratulate Solicitor O'Connor. It's been a long time coming. This was a long process, and I can remember back when we had 10% or more of our public safety officers on workers' comp, and it was a concern from public safety perspective. But I think we have put together a very good process and gotten the officers and firefighters the attention and the help and assistance that they needed to get back to work, and as well as get those individuals that should not have been on workers' comp back to work or off the roll. So I also want to chime in and congratulate the law department and the administration for staying on top of this and getting the police officers and firefighters back on the street.
Councilor Rita Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was going to talk about, and thank you, Mr. Manager, for putting my motion into use. I think that's pretty good. I also want to make note of the fact that I received this architectural magazine, Urban Planning Magazine, and on page 42, lo and behold, is our very own Adam Bakey from the Planning Department. It's the real deal, reinventing the post-industrial city, and it's got a schematic design of what the Hamilton Canal area will look like, and it says, Lowell is a lifetime city regardless of your stage in life. You can find a neighborhood, housing, and amenities that will be satisfying. I'm very proud of the fact that people are sending me things, noticing that we're alive, and with this Architecture Boston magazine, I'm very proud to see a good article that's in here, as well as to hear from a man, Jeff Stein, who is the head of the School of Architecture and a dean of Boston Architectural College, and he's an architect critic from Banker and Tradesman, so I'm very impressed by that. So I want to congratulate Adam for doing a good job in promoting our city to this degree.
Mr. Manager?
I thank you, Counselor. He's very humble too, because I don't think I knew that was in there. So I want to.
Well, I'll let you read this
Thank you
because
very
this was
much.
very important. And
Any
we're
other
proud of you.
communications you'd like to discuss with the manager? If not, I do have two issues, Mr. Manager. I was informed that the lighting on the Rourke Bridge is either 100% out or 90% out, so I know that's the responsibility. Is that the responsibility of the state?
Yes, it is. But we'll follow up with them on that.
And trash barrels along the Pawtucket, the Riverwalk, there's not enough trash barrels.
On the
Pawtucket
Boulevard
Boulevard,
okay.
the Riverwalk, yeah.
Okay. I believe that's a state responsibility
is.
as well, so
It is.
we'll contact them on that as well.
And I've received a call from Rocky Morrison, who does outstanding work keeping the rivers clean. And I met with him along the river, the VFW highway, and if you look across the river, you can see the Saugus Arena. Mr. Manager, there must be thousands of tons of debris in that one area, and I don't think the city could afford to clean it. It has to be cleaned because I think the Army Corps of Engineers is demanding that we clean the levee and keep the levee up, but see if we could use some stimulus money to clean that up because it's disgraceful.
We'll certainly explore what options we have on
Yeah.
that.
It's much too large for Rocky Morris or any one individual, and it's a shame, really. But that's all I have to request. Any other requests? If not, accept the communication, placed on file by Councilor Milonazo, second by Councilor Mercy. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Those communications are accepted and placed on file. I believe on the next docket, we have communication from city manager requesting the approval of 6 employees traveling out of state. Any debate or questions pertaining to that? If not, roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sorry, I didn't think I put my hand up in time. Money for this, Mr. Manager, is it grant money for
There's
all
no
of these
expense to the
individuals?
city.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kazanjian.
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
9 yeas.
We have 3 individuals who are resigning, and I'll read the resignations. And the manager has forwarded a thank you to these 3 individuals who have dedicated many, many years to the city of Lowell. First, Dr. Robert Mondo, 35 Barrett Avenue. The resignation letter dated April 15, 2009, and the manager indicated he thanks him for his dedication and commitment to the city. Also, Ms. Bonnie L. Deenan, 139 Methuen Street. The manager has indicated his many thanks on behalf of the council for Bonnie Deenan's dedication and commitment to the city. And Mr. Richard Toppy, 151 Dartmouth Street, Lowell, Mass., received a resignation letter, and the manager has also forwarded a thank you to Mr. Toppy. So accept the communications and place them on file by Councilor Bill Martin, seconded by Councilor Kevin Broderick. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Those communications are accepted and placed on file. Moving on with the agenda. Vote authorizing the approval and submission of the federal fiscal year 2009-2010 City of Lowell Annual Action Plan to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Kevin Broderick, seconded by Councilor Lindsay. All in favor of waiving the full reading, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Full reading has been waived. Second reading by title, authorizing the approval and submission of the federal fiscal year 2009-2010 City of Lowell Annual Action Plan to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Councilor Arman Mercer, you have a question?
My question is, should we be taking up the next item first, which amends the plan that's before us?
No, that's for a previous year. That's
Vote amend 8, oh, no, oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right, it's previous year, okay.
Okay.
That's right.
Any questions pertaining to this
Move approval.
article? Move approval by Councilor Arman Mercer, second by Councilor Kevin Broderick. Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kazanjian.
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Vote authorizing the approval and submission of an amendment to the federal fiscal year 2008-2009 City of Lowell Annual Action Plan to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Whereas the City of Lowell has received a formula grant in the amount of $978,048 under the Homelessness Prevention and Rapid Rehousing Program pursuant to the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009 from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. And whereas it is necessary to amend the city's 2008-2009 annual action plan in order to provide for the expenditure of HPRP funds to programs that prevent homelessness and to assist with the homelessness prevention goals of the city's 10-year plan to end homelessness. Now therefore, be it voted by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows, that the federal fiscal year 2008-2009 City of Lowell annual action plan shall be amended to provide for the expenditure of HPRP funds in the amount of $978,048 to programs to prevent homelessness and to assist with the homeless prevention goals of the city's 10-year plan to end homelessness, and the plan as amended shall be submitted to the Department of Housing and Urban Development for its approval. Second reading by title, authorizing the approval and submission of an amendment to the federal fiscal year 2008-2009 City of Lowell Annual Action Plan to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. Any discussion or debate on this issue? None? Roll call.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Kazandrian?
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Moving on with the agenda. Vote authorizing the city manager to enter in a purchase and sale agreement with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, acting through its Division of Capital Asset Management and Maintenance on behalf of its Administrative Office of the Trial Court regarding property located at 323, 379, and 389 Middlesex Street, 6 King Street, and portions of 351, 360 Jackson Street pursuant to the Jackson, Appleton, Middlesex Jam Urban Revitalization and Development Plan, and to consummate the sale and disposition of said property. Motion to waive the full reading by Counsel Alexandrian, seconded by Counsel Lindsay. All in favor of waiving the full reading, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The full reading's been waived. Second reading by title. Authorizing the city manager to enter a purchase and sale agreement with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, acting through its Division of Capital Asset Management and Maintenance on behalf of its Administrative Office of the Trial Courts regarding property located at 323, 379, 389 Middlesex Street, 6 King Street, and portions of 351 and 360 Jackson Street pursuant to the Jackson, Appleton, Middlesex Jam Urban Revitalization and Development Plan, and to consummate the sale and disposition of said property. What's the wish of the body? Any discussion? We all know what the Council Kazan.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a couple of questions. Maybe Adam can help me on this. Looks like we're going to be getting $2.8 million plus some, and city's going to be reimbursed for $924,000 for relocation costs. Is that correct? Also, it says that DCAM is going to, we're going to have to put $1 million in escrow for DCAM. Is that for tearing down the building?
That's correct.
So in other words, we're paying DCAM to take it down?
We would be paying, that's a building that has to come down as part of the Hamilton Canal project. We would either be doing that on our own, which would require us to go out to bid and have to procure those services, or we could just, piggyback onto the contractor that they have coming in. So we've set aside that amount in escrow to pay our portion of the building that we will still control out there, so that it would be done at the same time as the property that they'd be tearing down.
Yeah, I thought, I was under the impression that they were going to do it for nothing, no cost at all.
No,
Okay.
they're doing theirs as part
Right,
of their
right.
responsibility, but then
Yeah.
they would do ours, but we would allocate some money towards that cost.
Okay, do we have a closing date on when we're supposed to?
We're hoping that will be done by June timeframe, so that it's done by the end of the fiscal year.
Okay, and the money's going to go directly to the loan that we took?
It'll
Okay.
come right into the city.
Yeah,
And it would go towards paying the indebtedness on the project.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions pertaining to this issue? Roll call.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Kazandrian?
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Order pursuant to Chapter 266 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, concerning Section 266-6 thereof entitled Temporary Expandable Regulations. Temporary traffic regulations are hereby implemented for 60 days, whereas the City of Lowell desires to make temporary rules regulating traffic under actual conditions for a period of 60 days, and whereas Chapter 266 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, Section 266-6 thereof entitled Temporary Experimental Regulations, authorizing the City Council to make such temporary rules for a period not to exceed 60 days. Now therefore be it ordered, adjudged, and decreed by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows: effective immediately for a period of 60 days. Thereafter, the following temporary traffic regulations shall be implemented. Section 266-44, one-way streets designated is hereby amended by adding the following: Park Avenue East from the northern access road of J.G. Pine Arts Magnet School, commonly known as Francis McGee Way, northwesterly to Knapp Avenue, and Section 266-49, yield intersections is hereby amended by adding the following: Wedge Street against eastbound drivers on Wedge Street at Parker Street. Section 266-56, parking prohibited on certain streets at all times, is hereby amended by adding the following: Middlesex Street, 155, northerly side, beginning at the western curb line of Marsden Street, running a distance of 56 feet, west long, Middlesex Street. Second reading by title. Pursuant to Chapter 266 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Lowell, Massachusetts, concerning Section 266-6 thereof, temporary experimental regulations, temporary traffic regulations are hereby implemented for a period of 60 days. It's the wish of the body. Council Rita Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to pull the Park Avenue East one off this particular order right at this time for further studies. With the different funeral homes calling me, I know that they want to make it one way, and rightfully so, but I'm concerned with the funeral homes that are calling me when they have funerals in that Lowell cemetery there, and they need that particular street, and there was no input from them. So if we can study that a little bit further, and would like to pull Middlesex Street as well, if we could pull that one, Section 266, the parking prohibited on certain streets, namely Middlesex Street, that one there. I don't mind you doing Wedge Street, and we could do that one, but if we could just delay those two for a certain period, to the next meeting, There's no hurry right there.
Did someone second that request?
I'll second it.
Thank
Seconded
you.
by Council Al Kazanjian. And once again, Council Mercer, can you just, is Park Avenue
It's
and what, and,
It's the one-way street designation of Park Avenue East for further input from the funeral homes who were not aware of that, and the Section 266, parking prohibited on certain streets at all times, and we're talking about Middlesex Street, number 155. If we could just pull that
so you
off
want to delay that
to
until
the next meeting.
All in favor of the delay, signify by saying aye. Any opposition? The delay is in order. Now
Okay.
let's take a vote on the,
On the Wedge Street
on
yield.
the temporary, it's temporary issues anyway.
Sure, thank you.
Roll call. on the temporary
Counselor
issues.
Elliott?
Yes.
Counselor Kazanjian?
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Arman Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield?
Yes.
9 yeas.
Moving on with the agenda. Vote. Authorizing the city manager to execute a lease agreement between the City of Lowell and Diamond Action Incorporated, the Low Spinners, relative to use of the Edward A. LaLashia Park in the City of Lowell for the use by the Low Spinners. Whereas the City Council did vote on December 30th, 1997, authorizing the city manager to execute a lease agreement between the City of Lowell and Diamond Action Incorporated relative to the LaLashia Park in the City of Lowell for use by the Low Spinners. And whereas said lease agreement is due to expire on April 30th, 2009. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Kevin Broderick, seconded by Councilor Elliott. All in favor of waiving the full reading, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Full reading has been waived. I'm going to read the second reading by title. Authorizing the city manager to execute a lease agreement between the City of Lowell and the Diamond Action Incorporated, the Low Spinners, relative to the use of the Edward A. LaLashia Park in the City of Lowell for the use by the Low Spinners. What's the wish of the body? Councilor Kazanjian.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a couple of questions, but I'm not ready to vote on this tonight. But if I can ask a few questions tonight, maybe for the next meeting, we'll have some better answers. Maybe City Solicitor, I'll address them to you. On paragraph 4.5, additional rent. I know we had this issue on the last contract. We brought up the questions. And the thing is if the season for minor league play is extended, what is extended? Is it getting into playoffs, or if they play more than the 41 games? I mean, it's kind of vague there, and I just don't want to have an issue if we do extend the season somehow.
Mr. Manager?
Which section is that, Councilor?
4.5.
4.5.
Additional rent?
Yep.
Okay.
3.
Right, there's two provisions. There's the provision for an extension of minor league play, and there's also the paragraph 4.6, which is additional rent or other sources of income for things that go beyond minor league baseball.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I was going to suggest is that any sort of discussion of the lease or potential changes that the council may want to institute probably would be best addressed in an executive session.
Oh, okay,
The
okay.
parties are still in the process
Okay.
of negotiating, and if the council wanted to have a separate meeting on that.
Shall I suspend the rules and try to make a motion? Do we meet in executive session? Is that what we should be doing?
The council could either take the matter up tonight and go into executive session, or, as you had indicated at the outset, you had wanted some time to take a look at this
Yes.
some more. So if you
Special
wanted
meeting?
a special meeting.
Special meeting.
I think that would be better, a special meeting, and this special meeting would be executive session,
I
correct?
think it's wise, yes.
Okay.
And if I
Mr.
may,
Manager?
Mr. Mayor, I think the other aspect of that is, as the solicitor indicated, the negotiations are still ongoing, so, we may be farther along at that point to give the council more up-to-date information, because, again, this is in their hands right now, but.
Okay, so I'm going to suspend the rules to make a motion for a special meeting, executive session. Is that,
Second.
okay,
Motion by Counsel Kazanjian to
Right.
have a special meeting and go into executive session.
correct.
Seconded by Counsel Rita Mercer. Discussion on the
Uh,
motion.
On the motion.
Counsel Milonazo.
The current lease expires, as I understand it, on Thursday, correct, April 30th. So what impact does the fact that we may not, based upon the votes tonight, we may not be dealing with this tonight, but be dealing with this either at a special meeting, say 48 hours from now, or sometime next week? What does that do relative to the legal requirements as the landlord and as the tenant?
Right. The commission is scheduled to meet this Thursday, and at this point, any further extensions of the current lease, which has previously been extended, will be again extended, subject to
Okay.
approval of the parties, for probably a fairly short period of time.
Okay.
Maybe as little as
Okay.
2 weeks.
Okay, then I'm fine with the vote, thank you.
Counsel Mercer and then Counsel Meyer.
My question is, you're saying that this lease is still in negotiations? So what is it doing before us for approval?
We had hoped that this would be, this is the
okay,
the
so-
lease that was there, this was essentially the lease that was on file at the time of the RFP being issued, and what's happened is the financial terms of the spinners that they submitted in their proposal have been now incorporated in this. This has been forwarded on to the spinners through their attorney, and we had hoped that, to keep this timely and get this moving, we were hoping that we would have wrapped this up by now. So that's why it's before you.
So for all intent and purposes, we absolutely should wait till there's a final lease before we go into, we can go into executive session and find out that the lease isn't final. That doesn't make any sense to me.
That's correct, but I think it would also be useful to keep the council abreast of where we stand with regards to the negotiations, to let them know. If we have not hammered out a deal by next week, or whenever, 48 hours from now, whatever, then we would be able to at least discuss in the proper setting the sticking points with regards to the negotiations.
So for all intent and purposes, this special meeting is not necessarily going to be approving this lease, because there's not a final lease.
That's
approved.
correct.
It'll be to pursue what's in the lease that we have right now.
That's correct.
And any other additional information you may have from the commission prior to our special meeting.
Exactly.
That's my understanding.
That's
of what's
correct.
going- Okay, thank you.
The chair would like to recognize the solicitor.
Just to add to that, it's true that it may not, you may not be acting on what will be a final lease, but it will be beneficial in a couple of respects. As I understand it, and again, we're all familiar with the fact that this lease has to go through two separate bodies. So what's before you tonight is what the Arena Commission had approved. They were aware that it would be given to you, and you could make any comments or adjustments to it that you saw fit. Secondly, as the manager had indicated, it will be helpful for the administration to know what particular points that have been perhaps objected to by the spinners, what the position of the council is. It will help, I think, speed up negotiations if we, for example, knew that something was negotiable, not negotiable, what were the terms, and again, if there's anything in the lease in its present form that the council has comments or concerns over, then in a timely fashion, those comments and concerns can be forwarded to the spinners.
So, thank you.
You all set, Councilman?
Thank you.
Yes, I'm all set, thank you.
Council Martin, then Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know there was a memo from the manager in our packet saying that he had hoped this would be in final form, that there might have been a red line version, so we're not far enough along, apparently. So, you know, I certainly don't object to the special meeting. I think we do need to keep this moving forward because, you know, time gets shorter every day. But I do, you know, there obviously has been some significant progress made, and I wanted to just encourage the parties, both the spinners, the Arena Commission, the administration, to keep working toward that. I think this is certainly as far along as we've seen it, and, you know, I don't know if we're at the 10-yard line, the 5-yard line, or the 1-yard line, but I expect we're in the red zone here. Is that fair to say?
I would definitely say we're in the red zone. I'd say we're probably on the 10, maybe the 9. But we're optimistic that we hammer this out. Obviously, it's tough. It seems like it gets tougher though when you get down into that red zone. But I think by and large, I would hope that the council would feel that the financial terms that are outlined here are positive. We've made tremendous progress in getting a financial package in terms of the rent that is much better than, obviously much better than the city had received prior to that. But as always, it gets down into the details that we need to hammer out now, and we're working at that quite diligently.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council Kevin Broderick, then Council Rita Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think my question might have been answered, but I was unclear on what the council's role is. If we're going to have the contract brought to us, are we voting it up or down? Are we allowed to make recommendations, suggestions? We're not supposed to be negotiating. We're supposed to be approving. So I'm wondering what exactly what can I expect, or we expect to be able to do when we go into executive session? Are we trying to give some feedback? I'm a little unclear as to what our role is.
I would say, Council, you're correct in that the role of the council is to vote it up or down. But certainly, as we go through the process, I think it would be helpful to be able to get the feedback on various issues, and then also for within the contract, and also for the administration to be able to present to the council the issues that the administration might have, and the recommendations, but also the Arena Commission, so that we can present that and then answer questions and have a full discussion in executive session.
Okay, thank you.
Council Rita Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager, I don't know if we're in the red zone or the twilight zone, to tell you the truth, and I'm serious when I say that. Let's recap this from my understanding from the beginning. Not this February, but a year ago, February, I made a motion to see if we could try to remember that in December 31st, the last day of December, the lease will expire for the spinners. Is there any way we could try to get on board right now before the time came at the very end? Well, it seemed like it went nowhere through no fault of your own, because it had nothing to do with us. It was an Arena Commission thing. Having said that, the lease expired, to my knowledge, the end of December. And when it did, it extended some time out into April 30th, in essence. Who determined that the lease should be extended to that particular time? The Arena Commission?
That's correct.
I thought we made the ultimate decision.
On a long-term lease.
On a long-term lease.
But on these 30-day lease extensions, those were separate.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, because I thought that the terms of the lease till April 30th went to the same as it did previously for the previous 10 years up until this.
That's
but
correct.
it's my understanding that they're only paying the liability of the building. Is that what's happening, or are they giving us rent on top of it?
Well, keep in mind that before, they weren't giving us any rent, so in effect, they are living up to the prior agreement by not paying any
So,
rent.
in essence, we're very fortunate because they're paying liability insurance.
They're maintaining the facility.
They're
and
maintaining a facility of a sports venue whereby people can go in and buy their hats and coats and shirts and things.
And the university.
So how are we getting anything out of this? So where do we come into this picture?
Right.
I'm very taken aback by this. I know everybody's calm and everything. I'm not calm. We put out an RFP with a certain percentage of money, and it came back 10 years, 5 years higher than the 10. It came back a very little, and we determined that we would have liked a certain amount of money, and they only raised it a little bit. You know, then I see in the paper a full-page ad about the spinners where an RFP hadn't even come back yet, and you think this is the red zone? And I'm crazy saying it's the twilight zone, and yet we're going to agree on something that we're not agreeing on yet because now we have to look at it to see if we can tweak it a little bit. You know, and it's an election year, and if it fails, we're the people that are going to go down. Talk about bureaucratic red tape, and I know there's a commission that is trying to help us, but it's another layer of government that I feel like we're negotiating with Beirut. I really am taken aback by this, and I know it was created through special legislation. I know that we're dealing with someone that is very tough, but we're not a bunch of wimps either. And I mean, I don't want the man to walk away, but I'm not happy. I'm not happy, and I know that we're going to be negotiating again and having a special meeting, but, ooh.
Council, that's why we're going to have a special meeting. All we have to do is set the time and the date. And we'll have, excuse me?
I personally am anxious for a final package that we can vote for up or down and get this matter behind us.
Council Kazanjian and Council Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. I totally agree with Council Mercy. I don't think any of us are really calm. We're all disturbed with what's going on here. I didn't even know he had extended the lease. I had people ask me the question, how could they sell tickets and how can they get the play ball if we don't even have a lease in place? So, well, we've learned something tonight. I was loaded for bear. I had a bunch of questions on this lease, and then the solicitor told me I can't ask any questions. So I'm looking forward to this executive session, bring out a few points that hopefully make a difference. And I think it's important because the solicitor and the manager can relay it to the Arena Commission and probably save some time instead of getting to us, finding out what differences we have from the Arena Commission. And like I said, it'll save some time where I think time is the essence. And believe me, I'm not trying to rush this. I want the best thing for the city of Lowell. That's the bottom line. So,
Council Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think we all want that. I think Councilor Kazanjian's right. We want a fair deal for the taxpayers in the city of Lowell. And I know none of us are happy with this structure. I think, you know, this council is a elected body used to making decisions, not, you know, putting them off to another agency to make decisions that we can then only vote up or down. That's the structure we have, however. None of the 9 of us created that. That's what we have to live with. And I do think we owe the arena commissioners themselves a debt of gratitude. I think they've worked very diligently, and in spite of all the stops and starts along the way, I think, you know, we're looking at a financial package that is significantly better for this ballpark lease than what we had before. So, I mean, you could say it's not progress and call it the twilight zone and belittle it, but in my view, it's significant progress. And I know it's not done, and I know there are still questions, and I have questions of my own. But I think it's in all of our interest to continue along this line and work to get this done to completion. I think it's in our interest. I think it's in the owner of the spinner's interest. And I think people are working in good faith to do that. And I think that's we should all keep our eye on that ball to try and hopefully wrap this up soon. I mean, it's going to be time to play baseball, and I know we all want a team here that's been successful in the past.
I think in all due respect to the spinners and the city, I think we should expedite this as quickly as we can. And I asked members of the council prior to the meeting if they would want a special meeting. And the, many of the councilors said, could you have it on a Monday night, because there's a golf tournament on Tuesday. So would there be any objections if this special meeting was on a Monday night?
Monday's fine for me.
Monday?
Monday's fine.
Any have any objections to that?
I don't have any objections, but there are elections on Monday night in Drake, but I'll still be here.
Right. Now, what time would you like this special meeting?
6 o'clock, good?
6 o'clock? Is that fine with everyone? Okay, all in favor of having a special meeting on the lease pertaining to Diamond Action, Inc., signify by saying aye. The meeting will be held Monday evening at 6 p.m. at the council chambers. Signify by saying aye. Any opposed? We'll have a special meeting Monday evening to discuss the lease. And before we move on with the agenda, I just want to compliment Manager Bernie Lynch and especially Chris O'Connor and the Law Department for working tirelessly on this particular issue. And I know the Law Department has worked weekends, morning, noon, and night pertaining to this particular issue. I want to thank you for your dedication.
Thank you.
Moving on with the agenda. Vote authorizing the city manager to apply, accept, and expend funds from a grant from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Public Health to be administered by the Office of City Manager, whereas the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Public Health through the Mass in Motion Municipal Wellness Leadership Grant Program has available to the City of Lowell in the amount of $60,000 per year for 2 years at a total of $120,000. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Kevin Broderick, seconded by Councilor Michael Lindsay. All in favor of waiving the full reading, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The full reading's been waived. Second reading by title. Vote authorizing the city manager to apply, accept, and expend funds from a grant from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Public Health to be administered by the Office of the City Manager. Any questions, any debates? If none, roll call.
Counselor Elliott. Counselor Kazandrian.
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Armand Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Broderick.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Moving on with the agenda. Vote declaring certain City of Lowell property surplus and authorizing the city manager to receive proposals under the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30B, for the deposition of said parcels, namely a portion of 751 and 831-975 Pawtucket Boulevard, Lowell. Whereas the City of Lowell is the owner of certain property located at 751 and 831-975 Pawtucket Boulevard, having acquired title thereto by a deed recorded with the Middlesex North District Registry of Deeds in Book 7058, page 73, and by eminent domain taken dated June 25th, 1919, recorded with said deeds in Book 608, page 21. And whereas there is no present proposed use for the municipal purpose of said property, and whereas by a letter dated April 21st, 2009, the city manager has recommended that the city council declare the property surplus and not presently needed for municipal purposes. Now therefore be it voted by a 2/3 vote that the City of Lowell property at 751 and 831-975 Pawtucket Boulevard is hereby declared surplus property and not presently needed for municipal purposes by the city manager acting through the Division of Planning and Development, is hereby authorized to advertise for and receive proposals under the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30B, relative to the disposition of said property, which is more fully include therein a minimum bid price of $80,000 and to include required notification to all abutters pursuant to the Code of the City of Lowell, Chapter 60, Article 160-2, second reading by title, declaring certain City of Lowell property surplus and authorizing the city manager to receive proposals under the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30B, for the deposition of said parcel, namely a portion of 751 and 831-975 Pawtucket Boulevard, Lowell. What is the wish of the body? Move approved by Councilor Armand Mercia, seconded by Councilor Milonazo. There's no questions, no debate. We'll have a roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kazandrian.
Yes.
Counselor Lenzi.
Yes.
Counselor Martin. Councilor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
8 yeas, 1 absent.
The last item on the manager's agenda. Vote authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to accept a gift of an American flag from the family of Thomas F. Murphy, a World War II veteran of the European campaign for use by the Department of Public Works. Whereas the family of Thomas F. Murphy were presented with an American flag on the occasion of Mr. Murphy's funeral, and whereas it is the desire of the family to donate the American flag to the city of Lowell to be flown at a park in the Sacred Heart neighborhood, and whereas the city of Lowell desires to accept the gift of said flag from the family of Thomas F. Murphy, a World War II veteran of the European campaign, to be flown at a park in the Sacred Heart neighborhood. Now therefore, be it voted that the city manager be and he is hereby authorized in the name of the city of Lowell to accept the gift of an American flag from the family of Thomas F. Murphy, a World War II veteran of the European campaign, for use by the Department of Public Works to be flown at a park in the Sacred Heart neighborhood, all pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53A. Be it further voted that we, the members of the City Council of the City of Lowell, jointly and severally do hereby commend and officially thank the family of Thomas F. Murphy for the generosity displayed in donating the aforesaid gift to the City of Lowell for the use by the Department of Public Works. Second reading by title. Authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to accept the gift of an American flag from the family of Thomas F. Murphy, a World War II veteran of the European campaign, for use by the Department of Public Works. Is any members of the Murphy family here this evening? On behalf of the entire city council, Manager Lynch, and the city, we want to thank the Thomas F. Murphy family for this generous donation. Is there any comments from my colleagues? If not, roll call.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kazandrian.
Yes.
Councilor Lenzi.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Arman Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Broderick.
Yes.
Mayor Caulfield.
Yes.
9 yeas.
Subcommittee reports. Council Rita Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A Parks and Recreation Subcommittee meeting was held on Tuesday, April 21st. In attendance was Councilor Kevin Broderick, Commissioner of Parks and Recreation Tom Belgard, City Engineers Lisa DeMayo and Peter Maloney, Christine Thomas, Environmental Officer for the Conservation Commission, Assistant City Manager, DPW Commissioner T.J. McCarthy, and Rob Farden, representing the Friends of the Shed Park, and the person responsible for this subcommittee meeting in the first place. This meeting was called to discuss the section behind Shed Park known as Pollywog Pond, and to determine what plan or vision do we have as partners that we hope to achieve over there. And the vision and theme was built on 4 tenets or goals, being conservation, recreation, education, and preservation, as is evident in the multi-page presentation that was brought in by Rob to the subcommittee that I had Mary Jo in the clerk's office print out for each of every one of you so that we could put it in your packet on Friday so that you could peruse it at your leisure. This is an area of the city that has been neglected for years and has accumulated trash, overgrowth, and decay, but it has great potential in the 4 aspects that we discussed, and this group would like to partner with the city in terms of in-house work. The Friends of Shed Park have a proven track record of accomplishment, as quite evident with the water park and the playground at Shed Park, in generating over $125,000 to make all that happen, and they would do the same with the Pollywog Pond, not to that degree of money, but they would not be asking for something for nothing. They wanted a meeting called so that they could know what parameters and the law is in regards to the conservation issue that are placed there so that they could do things above board. They realize that our city engineers are not able to supply the type of engineering that this group needs, but that they will be assisting them and giving them guidance in conservation issues, etc. We did learn from city engineer Lisa DeMayo that the road leading to the pond will be repaved, but in an effort to present prevent speeding, where the children will be congregating in that area. The road will be made one way from the Pine School leading out. But having said that, in the meantime, we had received numerous calls from different funeral homes saying, gee, we have some concern about the direction of the street. But be that as it may, I'm sure we'll work it out, because it is important to repave that street. I am convinced that this is a beautification project that will benefit families and students and anyone in the city that would like the ambience of a picnic area in the summer, coupled with a pond setting surrounded by nature, a bridge, and people enjoying the outdoor recreation, education, preservation, and conservation. They will appreciate this plan. Not to mention outdoor ice skating in the winter. We're trying to organize a massive cleanup of that area to start out with, and anyone interested in joining us, when the plans are set, we will welcome you to help us. We will meet again in another month to see if what is the progress thus far. I did talk to my colleagues on the subcommittee to see if they could meet May 20th on a Wednesday at 5:30. That'd be the plan. But this is the report of progress, Mr. Mayor. I think it was a very informative meeting, one that I think is a little piece of the rock in a certain section of an area that has long since been forgotten, and we're trying to rejuvenate it. Look at the day that we had today. Everybody wanted to be outside. That would be a nice area to go to, not just for the people of Belvedere or South Lowell, but everyone could take part in that, and that would be very nice. So thank you very much.
Accept the report as the report of progress by Councilor Kevin Broderick, seconded by Councilor Elliott. All in favor, signify by saying aye. The report has been received and placed on file. Other subcommittee reports? Councilor Michael Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Earlier today, there was a subcommittee meeting of the Collegiate Partnership with the University of Mass Lowell, Middlesex Community College, and Greater Lowell Technical High School. And the topic was the sale of the DoubleTree. That sale has not taken place, according to the Chancellor, but we addressed a lot of questions that have come up in the community, especially from the downtown people regarding parking, regarding tax revenues, and I thought it was a candid and a good beginning if that deal does come to fruition. The word partnership came up often, and the Chancellor did a presentation on ways that the university has partnered with the city, past and present, and I think wanted to create an atmosphere that what's good for the university is good for the city, and that's where this project needs to go. So a lot of questions were answered. It was well attended by Debbie Belanger from the CVB, by Tommy McKay from the Lowell Memorial Auditorium, and people spoke and voiced their concerns. I think it was addressed the university's economic impact on the city, and certainly I think that their message was clear that they have partnered with the city in the past, and they're looking to do so in the future. The university came across as an economic engine with the city, and some of the projects were stated, such as the Lowell Spinners project, Hub Hosiery, and several others. So I think after reading the Lowell Sun and some of the articles that were in the paper the past week, it may have alleviated some of the anxieties that people had about this news coming so fast and furious. So I know Councilor Jim Milanazzo had a motion today, and we used that motion to address some of those concerns during the subcommittee meeting. So I think it was a good meeting. I think a lot of questions came out on the floor, were addressed, but once again, this is not a done deal, and it was more of a what-if situation. But certainly Middlesex Community College, there were some intriguing or exciting ideas that could come down the line if this project did come through, and it would also involve, I think, Greater Lowell Technical High School and probably their hospitality program. But one of the things that sticks out is the word dormitory came up several times, and I think that we're trying to not create an image or perception of the property just yet. The university's idea was to name it, or rename it, the Conference Inn, UMass Lowell Conference and
Interconference.
Inn and Conference Center. And that depicts a totally different image than certainly a dormitory. So I think they're trying to alleviate some of those anxieties also. But there'll still be more questions, and I think there's probably a lot of work to do over there, and we'll continue to meet, but at least it was good to get things out on the table and to answer some of those questions.
Would anyone else like to comment on the subcommittee? Councilor Ahmed
Yes,
Rashid?
for the benefit of the viewing audience that might be watching this evening and didn't get to see the subcommittee meeting, it's important to note that the Chancellor did say that the DoubleTree Hotel will be sold. Apparently, there's no doubt about that. And so the interest by the university is, in my opinion right now, based on what we hear, as to be in the best interest of the city. It's just a question of working out the details. But it is going to be sold, and some entity out there is interested in it besides the university. And I think it's important for people to realize that this is not may it be sold, but it will be sold. So it's important for us to stay on top of this. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Accept the report as report of progress by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Bill Martin. All in favor, signify by saying aye. The report has been received, placed on file. And while we're on that same vein, would the council mind if we took out of sequence the motion by Councilor Milonazo to discuss?
And that's fine, Mr. Mayor, but really it has been answered. The subcommittee
It has
really,
been answered?
yes, yes.
Okay, you're
yes.
satisfied?
I'm satisfied,
Okay.
yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, I am.
Any other subcommittee reports? Subcommittee reports? Councilor Rita
I don't have a subcommittee report, Mr. Mayor, but I would like to introduce a person that has been here through the whole meeting, and her name is Tibisay Duran, and she's a Salem State College student that I'm mentoring because she's going for her bachelor's degree in as a social worker. She had attended the candlelight vigil with me last evening for the parents of murdered children. She has been to different functions in the city, and I'd just like to introduce her and welcome her to the city council meeting right here.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Councilor Elliott?
I have a finance subcommittee report, Mr. Mayor, and it will be brief. We met following the subcommittee on collegiate partnerships, essentially on the motion by Councilor Rita Mercia relative to the demand fee. There was a brief meeting. Essentially, we will be meeting again. Excuse me. Manager is going to provide us with a report on a number of issues that were discussed, including the design of the form or the bill that goes out, as well as what other communities are doing for the demand notice. So it's really just a brief report. We'll meet again once we receive the information requested by the subcommittee and members of the council that were in attendance.
Accept the report as a report of progress by Councilor Kazanjian, seconded by Councilor Lindsay. All in favor of the report, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The report has been accepted, placed on file. No more subcommittee reports? Okay. We're going to move on with petitions. Miscellaneous petitions. Rita Michaud, 23 Crawford Street. And Maria Borges, 44 Chapel Street, request handicap parking signs.
Mr. Mayor, this is Michaud, C-H-A-U-D. But more importantly, I would like to suspend the rules to move that for approval this evening, because she submitted, or her husband submitted all the necessary paperwork to the city clerk's office, and so the sooner the better.
Sure. Okay, let's take that separately. Request from Rita Michaud, 23 Crawford Street, request a handicap parking sign.
Yes.
And Councilor Ahmed Mercia would like to implement it this evening.
Right.
Seconded by Councilor Rita Mercia.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, there was a little bit of a discrepancy here because Rita Michaud was there as well as Maria Borges, but I didn't see Louise Ajimian or Sarah Rodriguez. Those were two more that were in our packet.
She's on, I've got a motion for Louise
I don't have those.
for a temporary,
So if we could take all four of them together in Councilor Kazanjian's motion
Sure.
at the same time and make them into a 60-day trial for all four of them.
Sure.
That would take the whole thing and put it all in one package.
Good idea.
Wouldn't you think?
that's fine.
And that'll get us 10 minutes out of here if you, you know what?
You
Councilor
really think so?
Mercia.
We haven't gone into the motions yet. Okay, Councilor Kazanjian, you want to do Councilor Kazanjian's motion right now? Motion by Councilor Kazanjian, City Council requests the city manager have the proper vote drawn and proper department place a handicap sign at 26 Reed Street, seconded by Councilor Elliott on the motion.
Thank you, Mayor. It's basically just what it says. It's Louisa Jamian is handicapped, and she needs a handicap sign in front of her house. And I think you want to add the other three to this
Yes.
motion?
Yes.
Is that correct?
I
Yes.
would like to amend that motion to add the other names that we've just mentioned,
Yeah.
so that we can put them all
So
together.
before,
Which would be Rita Michaud, 23 Crawford Street, Maria Borges, 44 Chapel Street, Louise Ajemian, 26 Reed Street, Sarah Rodriguez, 619 Gorham Street, for a 60-day trial.
So move.
so moved by Councilor Armin Mercia, second by Councilor Martin. All in favor of the motion? This is going to be referred to the traffic engineer.
Yes,
And
yes.
will be implemented as soon as possible. All in favor? Signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Those motions carry, and the requests carry. Moving on with the petition C at 177 Merrimack Street, request overhanging sign, referred to the Law Department by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Lindsay. And we have two claims, property damage, referred to the Law Department by Councilor Milonazo, seconded by Councilor Armin Mercer. Motions. We're going to see if we get out of here in 10 minutes, Council.
No, I said it would shorten it by 10 minutes. I didn't say in
You're
10
on.
minutes. we're right.
It's motion by Councilor Elliott. City Council requests the city manager to update the council on the status of the new E911 center in the police garage. Motion seconded by Kevin Broderick.
Motion speaks for itself, Mr. Manager. I'm wondering whether we should just, to get a report and have a discussion, maybe amend my own motion to send this to the technology subcommittee, just to get an update on or where, or maybe you can give it to us.
Well, we'll get you a written report, Counselor, but essentially, the work is progressing. You know, we're working within the budget that we have for the project, and a good portion of the work is being done by city employees. There are pros and cons to that approach, but it is moving forward. What I might suggest is that we'll get you a full written report and then perhaps set up a time for the council to actually have a tour of the facility to see the progress firsthand.
I just want to add, I was in the garage today looking at it, and I have to say that the locker room is larger, much larger than the 911 center we have now. So it's going to be a beautiful center. Who had, Councilor Kazanjian?
Do we have an opening day for that 911 center? Is it?
We're hoping, we're on schedule to open, I believe, later this summer, but I'll get you a more definitive date
Okay.
on that as well.
Great.
Well, once we get the report, we send that to the technology subcommittee, and we can,
Technology or Public Safety Subcommittee?
one of the two.
All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Next motion, request, a motion by Councilor Rita Mercia, request the City Council have the Board of Parks take the necessary action to name the skateboard park at Hadley Field for John Michael Delahanty.
Thank you, Mr.
Seconded
Mayor.
by Councilor Milonazo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a motion to name the skateboard portion of Hadley Park in memory of John Michael Delahanty, who died on November 1st, 2008. I believe he was 20. And he was an avid skateboarder at that park for many, many years. Many of John's friends are still there and would be truly excited to see this motion happen. The expense to have a memorial stone would not be at an expense for the city, as John's mother would purchase this permanent memorial. The family of John Michael Delahanty will make every effort to have the kids keep the skateboard park clean, and they certainly will, out of respect for their deceased friend, whom they respected so very much. At one particular time, John Michael was given a brand-new skateboard as part of a graduation gift, and when he was questioned about how did he like his skateboard, He said that he gave it away, to which he replied that he was taught that it was better to give than to receive because he wanted someone else to experience the thrill it was to be able to skateboard. This is a fitting tribute to a young man who loved this sport so well. I would like to refer this motion with the approval of my colleagues to the Board of Parks. They will be meeting tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock, and I would be there.
Okay. Seconded by Councilor Kazanjian.
Thank you.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Motion by Council Rita Mercer, City Council requests the city manager have the proper departments take the necessary action to accept River Road, seconded by Councilor Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know that this is a difficult vote. It's not so easy to just accept a street, but I know that we only have a certain amount of money in the budget to repave certain streets, but there are quite a few streets left in the city that are not accepted, and we can't use the Chapter 90 funds, and this is one of them. And so I made the motion quite some time ago, and it still hasn't been accepted yet. I spoke to how do you go about this in the city engineer's office. It's very difficult, and they're short of help upstairs, but if we could just do a couple a year or something, at least start somewhere.
Mr. Manager?
Counselor, I appreciate the motion, and it is something that the city has a number of streets, as you point out, that have never been accepted.
I know.
And this is a problem that takes place in many communities, but it seems to be worse here than in most. I know that over the winter months, when construction was slow, the engineer's office did do quite a bit of work on developing the list of unaccepted streets. I will get the status on where they are with regards to River Road in particular, and then we can see about getting that and a couple others. I agree that we should be doing at least a couple of a year, if not more, to get ourselves eligible for that Chapter 90 funding for these types of projects.
Sure, and there must be some streets that fall under that are in that CSO area.
That's
wouldn't you
correct.
think?
That's
And that's
correct.
important. We can't do really much if we don't, that extra money from the Chapter 90 funds if we don't have it in an accepted street, so.
Right. We, on those streets, we can still use the CSO money to do, obviously, the work that needs to be done and then do some of the paving work. In some respects, those are better off because we can use the CSO money there. But this will allow us to spread that money more equitably around the city.
That's right. Thank you.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Next motion by Council Rita Mercia. City Council requests the city manager allow permission and provide assistance to Friends of the Council on Aging to erect a flagpole in front of the senior center, seconded by Council Armin Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is my understanding that the Council on Aging would like to erect a flagpole in front of the Council on Aging building because one does not exist there presently. They brought this request before the Friends of the Council on Aging Board, of which I chair that, and to see if it would be a doable project. But because that building and the land is owned still by Nick Saris, I asked his permission at a meeting that I was at on Saturday morning if he would object to a flagpole in front of the senior center, and he told me personally he has no objection to that. Therefore, I'm asking the city through this motion just for permission to erect a flagpole in front of the senior center. The cost would come right from the Friends of the Council on Aging, and there would be no cost to the city. So I'm just trying to do it, you know, lawfully.
Mr. Manager?
Obviously, Council, depending upon the vote of the Council, I'd certainly be willing to, would be interested in working with you on that. Has a site been selected yet in front of the senior center? Of
I don't know. The site has not been selected yet, but I did find out some information that if we wanted a 20-foot flagpole, it would cost like $875. It's very expensive. A 25-foot flagpole would cost $1,250 installed with a flag and all. It would be white, and we're almost going to do it if it's all right with the city for us to put one there.
Right,
and
again,
we would pay for it ourselves from our funds from the Friends of the Council on Aging.
Right. Again, I'd like to, the only issue that, from my perspective, or I would think would be the just the location, so it doesn't interfere with the traffic in that area. I think it's a great idea.
That's right. Thank you very much.
And it's a nice gesture on the Friends to pay for that.
Yeah, we'll pay for it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, the motion carries. Next motion by Council Kazanjian. City Council requests the city manager to report on the proposed concert at LaLasha Park. Seconded by Councilor Mike Lindsay.
Thank you, Mayor. It's just something I heard, that there's a possible concert happening at the LaLasha Park. Is that true?
That's my understanding, that they've, it's similar to scheduling the baseball games, which obviously they have to do in order to adhere to their contract with the New York Penn League. But it's my understanding that there is a plan to do a concert in July at the site. Again, they don't have a lease yet, but they had an opportunity to book something. My understanding is, and I have not been able to fully confirm this yet or understand how this is being organized, but it's my understanding that the university is involved with this as well, and as under the terms of their lease with the city. So we're still trying to get information on this as well.
Where are the proceeds going? Is the city going to benefit by this? Is there any revenue coming to the city at all?
Again, as of right now, the existing lease requires that in order for them to have something of that sort, they need the approval of the commission. As you know, by looking at the new lease, there's language in that to that effect there as well. So there hasn't been permission sought yet, so that could be discussed. All we know is that they have indicated that there's a plan for a concert. Again, if the university is involved, that opens up a whole new set of issues for us as well.
The university's entitled to have a concert?
There's language in the lease with regards to the university having events at the ability to have events at the facility.
Okay. I think that's it for now.
We'll get as more information becomes available. We'll get more information.
Report back to us. Yeah. Thank you.
Councilor Kevin Broderick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You're referring to a lease with the university. Which lease are you referring to?
The lease that they have, I'll refer to the solicitor on this, that's a lease with the city for the use of the LaLasha Park. And that came with the building of the LaLasha Park and the state authorization of money there for the city and the university.
Is that 20 years?
20 years? It is 20 years, yes.
Okay. Could we get a copy? I don't know if
Absolutely.
I've ever seen it. Thank you.
Any other questions pertaining to this motion?
See,
Councilor Rita Mish.
I did receive an email from Tim Bowman, and he said that with the second RFP hopefully behind us, I want to reach out to tell you of our plans to hold a concert at LaLasha Park in conjunction with UMass Lowell and Chancellor Meehan's office. We're teaming up with the university to host a college-themed band called Wilco. This is a band from Chicago. I mean, how do we do these things if we don't have a lease in place? I mean, I don't think that I'd want to not renew my lease to live at a place and say, gee, I'm having a big cookout. I haven't released, decided to sign the lease or whatever, and I'm not concerned about going up and your rent going up, but, I want to have this big shindig in my backyard. I don't get it.
Maybe we can discuss all of this at the special meeting.
They must be covered. I mean, they wouldn't be doing this on their own without having some sort of legal coverage of being able to do it. University can do it.
I think they're having it July 11th or something.
Right.
I mean, that's July. And I don't know if the second RFP is behind us. How do we know it's even?
Right.
I don't know. This is.
It just seems like they're partnering up with the university, and again, the city gets nothing out of it. So.
Any other questions pertaining to this motion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed, the motion carries. The next motion on the agenda is by Councilor Kazanjian, request manager investigate procuring surplus government equipment.
Thank you, Mayor.
Seconded by Councilor Broderick.
Thank you. I was brought to my attention that somebody that I knew purchased a emergency vehicle from the government surplus equipment, and they actually bought this. It was a couple years old, 3,000 miles on it, and it was like brand new, and bought it for 10 cents on the dollar. I know we're looking at fire apparatuses right now, and maybe we can have a grant writer or somebody. It's gsa.com. It's very easy to get to, and they can, and they gotta look at it daily, because one day there might not be too much, but other days there could be quite a bit of equipment on there, and as a government, they spare no expense. They have the Cadillac of vehicles, and from soup to nuts, and I just think it worked out great for this individual, and like I said, they bought it for 10 cents on the dollar, and maybe this can happen with us when we do need equipment. Not that I'm trying to rush to buy equipment, but if the case does happen, like with the fire apparatuses, we could probably buy 3 for the price of one brand new one.
Mr. Manager?
Council, I think that's it's an excellent motion. I will tell you that the Mr. Vaughn, our purchasing agent, receives bulletins on a regular basis from the federal government and state government with regards to surplus equipment that we look at and determine whether we need anything. I've had experience buying federal equipment in the past for the town of Chelmsford when I was the town manager over there. It is an excellent way to buy equipment. It isn't always there, the type of equipment you necessarily need, but there are times, whether it be a front loader or a dump truck or something of that sort, that you're right, it can be very economical, and we will reiterate that to the purchasing agent and see if there's some opportunities when we move forward with any of our equipment. I think it's an excellent motion.
Yeah, that'd be fine. And this vehicle came out of Cape Canaveral. It was just never left the site, and like I said, 3,000 miles, like brand new. So, so maybe we purchase something like that. So, thank you.
That is an excellent motion, and for the company I worked for years and years and years ago, that company did that, and the government was happy to bring that equipment, that surplus equipment forward. And you're talking about snow removal equipment, front-end loaders, bulldozers. It's unbelievable. And the equipment is, much of it is just like new. So that's a great motion, and hopefully we can cash in on it. Any other discussion on that motion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Last motion of the evening. Motion by Councilor Lindsay. City Council requests the City Council and the City Manager support and provide assistance to the committee planning to erect a plaque in City Hall honoring Andy St. Onge. Motion seconded by Councilor Armand Mercier on the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just think back to when Andy St. Onge took the job as Special Events Coordinator and was offered as 20 hours a week. And at the time, Brian Martin was the manager, and it certainly became a 24/7 job. That was Andy's passion, and that was his career. And everything he did, he thought about the city, how he could bring an idea back to the city, implement an idea into one of the festivals in the city. You know, the Folk Festival was just kind of getting off the ground when Andy started. Winterfest didn't exist. We'll never forget the fountain trip to Las Vegas, and he was going to bring the fountains back to Lowell. The City of Lights parades, the trip to Cambodia, Matamea, and he had to balance a lot of personalities in the city over a lot of events. He was an ambassador to the city everywhere he went. He entertained people when they came in for curling or conventions and everything like that. And he certainly deserved the title of Minister of Fun. So I think that it would be apropos that we erect a plaque in Andy's memory. I've seen the picture that the committee has proposed, and I think it's his smiling face with a map of Lowell in the background, and we'd very much like to do that here in City Hall in his memory, and I think that that's well-deserved, and the years that he put in and brought so many events and so many smiles to the people of Lowell's day-to-day.
It's an excellent motion. Anyone else? Councilor Rita Mercer?
It is an excellent motion, and he was quite a remarkable man, one that you would never forget. And I have 4 phone calls on my cell phone to this day that I won't erase. Anytime you want to hear him, I have him with me all the time.
Yeah. Anyone else would like to?
And this plaque has been there as I know the Lowell 5 Cent Savings Bank and some other downtown business people have volunteered to pay for the plaque. So it's no cost to the city.
I remember years ago, there was a contingency of people from City Hall who traveled to Cambodia with Councilor Riddy Ung. And I asked Councilor Ung, when he returned from Cambodia, how was your trip and how did the people receive everyone from the city of Lowell? He says, well, Andy St. Onge was the Minister of Fun, and he said, Cambodia will never be the same. So he brought enjoyment and laughter and a sense of direction and wisdom and pride, whatever he did. And I think he has showed us all that the Lowell Folk Festival, the Winterfest, and many other things in the city can be successful if you have a positive outlook. So I'm very proud to support that motion, and thank you for bringing it in. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Before we adjourn, please, I want to go home and watch the Indians and Red Sox too, but I just have a few things to clean up here. I've received this message from Keith Rudy. The opening at the Acre Youth Baseball, Kumacelis Field, Saturday is at 12 noon. It's at 12 noon. We have a flag-raising ceremony for Sierra Leone, the community, Saturday. I believe it's at 11 o'clock. Councilor Mercia, is that at 11 o'clock Saturday? At 12:30, there's a walk for the March of Dimes and many, many other things. Manager Lynch and I, this past Saturday, we constantly met each other, and if you look at the Paint for Peace, Dove, in the JFK Plaza, Manager Lynch and I tried our ability to paint, and I can't thank Mark Spello enough for his dedication and commitment. And also, I just want to remind the viewing audience, the 2010 census, between April 20th and July 2009, the U.S. Census employees will be visiting every housing unit in the city. Do not be afraid. Answer the door. They're looking for vital information. It's very important to our city. And on the desk of every city councilor, you will see the Four Sisters Owl Diner Charity Golf Classic to benefit Christian Welch, a 12-year-old boy who received a heart transplant. He's a student at St. Michael's School. He needs our help. So anyone who wants to be a sponsor or make a contribution to that charity, please visit the Owl Diner, see Tommy Shanahan. They'll be happy to accept any donation from you. And also, this weekend, Saturday, May 2nd, 2009, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., a Household Hazardous Waste Day at Cawley Stadium. And there's various things you can bring, and I'm going to read the things you can't bring. Latex paint, asbestos, smoke detectors, commercial or industrial waste, radioactive waste, infectious and biological waste, ammunition, fireworks, explosives, fire extinguishers. Give the mayor's office a call tomorrow if you have any questions. Hazardous waste, this Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Cawley Stadium. Councilor Kuzanjian is going to buy the newspaper, the coffee and donuts. With that said, yes, Councilor Milanazzo.
I think that the Polish flag raising is Sunday.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Yes.
The Polish flag raising ceremony is Sunday. I believe at 1 o'clock.
Correct,
Councilor
right.
Mercia? Yes.
Just want to make sure, since you mentioned the other.
I'm happy you brought that forward, yes.
$12:30 to $1:30.
12:30 to 1:30.
12:30. I urge every councilor to please attend that flag raising ceremony. The Polish community is awesome people, real nice people. With that said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn by Councilor Bill Martin, seconded by Councilor Mike Lindsay. Thank you. We get through that. 2 hours?